Good morning. Today we are going to see the next lesson, an essay on dramatic poesy from unit number 2. Essay on dramatic poesy is one of the most important prose works by John Dryden. It is written in the neoclassical age. By reading this unit, the students will understand what are all the literary standards of neoclassical age and what are the important works of Dryden and what are the merits of Dryden as a critic. First, let's see some details about the neoclassical age. Neoclassical age refers to the period between 1660 and 1798. 1660 is the year of Charles II's restoration to the throne. So this period can also be called the Restoration Age. And it comes to a close in the year 1798 when the lyrical ballads was published. So that is the beginning of Romanticism. Okay. So neoclassical age refers to the period between 1660 and 1798. The neoclassical period can be divided into three distinct stages. First, the Restoration period, Augustan period, and the Age of Johnson. And neoclassical literature is characterized by three important features: order, accuracy, and structure. So, in neoclassical literature, we could see order, restraint, and accuracy, that is, exactness and proper structure. And the popular genres during this age were parody, essays, satire, letters, fables, melodrama, and rhyming couplets. And during this period, literature was influenced by the French and classical literature, especially on drama. Writers took French and classical literature for their model. Let's see some bio note on Dryden. Dryden's lifetime began with 1631 and he lived up to 1700. He was a poet, a dramatist, and a critic, and also a translator. Let's see some of the important works by Dryden. The most important work by Dryden is Asteroides, which he wrote upon the restoration of Charles II. When Charles II came back to England, he wrote this work, Asteroides, which means justice restored. So, in celebration of the monarchy, restoration of the monarchy, Dryden wrote this book. And immediately he was appointed as the poet laureate, and he was the first Englishman to be appointed as a poet laureate in 1668. And some of the other important works by Dryden. Macflecknoe is a mock heroic poem, and he wrote the famous Absalom and Achitophel, which is a political satire. And other dramatic works include All for Love, the other name for it is The World Well Lost. It is all about Antony and Cleopatra story. And he has also translated the fables, ancient and modern. Okay, Aesop's fables. He has translated from other languages. And here he has translated the works of Ovid, Boccaccio, and Chaucer. So Dryden's literary career is a vast one, which includes his poetry, criticism, translation, and drama. And he has the unique pride of being the first poet laureate of England. And as a poet, he has written some of remarkable poems. Uh, and let's see some of the poems by him. His ode on the death of Oliver Cromwell, Annus Mirabilis, Astrioretics, and upon on Oliver Cromwell's written. So these are all some of the remarkable poems by Dryden. And Dryden's satires include the political satire Absalom and Achitophel and Macfligno. These two are the most important satirical works. And Religio Lazy and The Hind and the Panther, these are all the heroic poems. And to talk about his plays, the first play he wrote was The Wild Gallant. It was a prose comedy. And following this work, he wrote The Indian Emperor, Tyrannic Love, Aurangzeb. These are all the historical plays. And to talk about Dryden's prose works, the most important work was the Essay of Dramatic Poesy, which came out in 1668. And this is a work where he discusses the merits of three chief types of drama. He analyzes the different types of dramatical works. First, the classical drama of the Greek and Latin writers, Greeks and Romans, and the neoclassical drama of the French, and the romantic drama of the English. So, in this work, Essay on Dramatic Poesy analyzes the three types of work. One is classical drama, and French drama, and English drama. And actually, this work is in the form of a dialogue or an argument among four members. And in this work, he tries to estimate various writers, especially Ben Jonson, Beaumont and Fletcher, Shakespeare. So all these dramatists belong to the Elizabethan age. So Dryden's chief motive in writing this prose work is to compare the merits of the Elizabethan dramatist with the other dramatists, like the classical dramatist and French dramatist. Here, as we saw earlier, this work is in the form of a discussion or argument. It's a debate. Yes, it is in the form of a debate on drama conducted by four speakers. One is Eugenius, Critus, Lycidius, and Neander. These are the four members who are involved in the argument or discussion. Here, each one represents a real character. So these names are imaginary names given by Dryden to represent the real characters. Here, Eugenius, the name means well born. So it refers to the real life character Charles Sackville. And who, uh, who was a patron of Dryden. And he himself was a poet, Sackville. And the second character, Critus, this word means judge or critique. Okay, so the Critus represents Sir Robert Howard. Okay, and he is the brother-in-law of Dryden. And the third name, Lycidius, refers to Sedley, Sedley, a fellow contemporary poet. And the last character, Neander, the word means new man. Actually, this Neander stands for Dryden himself. So all these four characters involved in a discussion or a debate. So each one comes out with their own ideas on the dramatist, and each one favors various dramatists. So, what is the context of this work? At that time, a battle was going on between England and Netherlands, and these four members, four gentlemen, Critus, Eugenius, Lycidius, and Neander, they are traveling by boat to see the battle. The battle is between England and Netherlands. They want to witness the battle, so they are going traveling by boat. And on journey, they involve themselves in a discussion about modern literature. And Critus was the first person to open the discussion. So Critus opens the discussion by saying that none of his contemporaries, that is, the modern writers, can equal the standards and rules set by the ancient classical masters like Greek and Roman masters. So Critus favors the classical dramatists. So he says that modern writers, modern dramatists are not up to the mark. They cannot stand in comparison with the ancient classical writers. So this is the opinion of Critus. And the second character, Eugenius, he says we should not waste time on blaming or finding the fault with others. Instead, we can focus on the merits or advantages which we find in the other writers. Okay. And Critus, as we have seen, Critus favors the classical drama, especially the drama of Aristotle, who believed that drama is a form of imitation, imitation of life. Socrates was much attracted by this idea of Aristotle, and Socrates holds that drama of such ancients is successful because it depicts life. Yes, so the ancient drama it depicted life, so it had realism in it. And Socrates holds that drama of such ancients is successful because it depicts life and both classical and neoclassical writers or dramatists favor rules and unities of time, place, and action. And according to him, the modern dramatists are shadows of Aeschylus, Sophocles, and Seneca and Terence. So that is, the modern writers have no originality; they are just imitating the ancient classical masters. So Elizabethan dramatists like Ben Jonson borrowed from classics and he felt proud to call himself a modern Horace. So he says all the contemporaries, all the modern writers take their source from the classical writers. So this is the argument of Critus. Now comes Eugenius and he favors the modern dramatists. And instead of telling about the virtues of the moderns, he criticizes the faults of classical playwrights. So, what are all the faults he finds with the ancient writers? According to Eugenides, the classical drama is not divided into. So, Eugenides favors the modern dramatists, and according to him, the classical drama is not divided into acts, so it lacks originality. So there is no originality in the classical drama. This is opinion of Eugenides because he favors the moderns. And those classical writers' tragedies are based on the worn out myths that are already known to the audiences. If you take Sophocles or Aeschylus drama, they're all based on some myths. And what Eugenius says is these stories already the audience are familiar with, and what is there in writing? What is the originality of the classical writers to write upon those already known stories? So there is they lack originality. Is the opinion of Eugenius. And their comedies are based on overused curiosity of stolen heresies or miraculous restorations. Okay, so both the tragedies and comedies are based on worn out stories. That's the argument of Eugenius. Their disregard for poetic justice, and there is no regard for poetic justice. Is that is, even the virtuous people will suffer a lot. So there's no poetic justice in the ancient drama, especially the tragedies. Instead of pushing the vice and rewarding the virtue, They have so these modern writers are better than the classical writers in his opinion, because the classical writers did not have any consideration for poetic justice, and we could see many good characters, virtuous characters, suffer a lot in the classical drama. If you take the Oedipus Rex, Oedipus, for none of his fault, he suffers. Okay, so it is fate. And so we see so many other characters suffering uh, for none of their faults. So he says there is no poetic justice followed in the classical writings. Now, the third character, Lycidius, and he favors the French drama of the 17th century. So he favors the French drama. And he says French drama led by Pierre Corneille strictly followed the three unities. So it is superior according to him. The French dramatists never mix tragedy and comedy. So they strictly follow the three classical unities. So the French dramatists interweave truth with fiction to make it interesting, bringing elements that lead to faith and borrow from history to reward virtuous, which was earlier deprived of. They prefer emotions over plots. Violent actions take place off stage and are told by the messengers. And next character is Neander. Neander represents the writer Dryden himself, and he talks about the greatness of Elizabethans. So he favors the Elizabethan playwrights, especially Shakespeare. And he says Elizabethan writers or dramatists fulfill the drama's requirement, that is imitation of life, because Elizabethan dramatists focus on the human life. So it really picturizes the human life. So it is close to lifelike. And French drama raises perfection but has no soul or emotions, as it primarily focuses on the plot. Yes. So he finds fault with the French drama. He says French drama is good, but it is not perfect. Or though it has perfection, it has no soul, it has no life in it, because it focuses only on the plot, not on the. So Neander rejects the argument that the change of place and time diminishes the dramatic credibility in drama. So he says deviation from the three unities may give diverse themes to drama. If we stick on to the one place or one particular time, we cannot find any diversity or diverse differences. So if we deviate from this classical rule, we can get some diverse themes uh, to represent in a drama. And he praises Shakespeare, saying that he is the man who, of all the modern and perhaps the ancient poets, and the largest and most comprehensive soul. Okay, so this is the appreciation he gives, Neander gives for Shakespeare. And apart from Shakespeare, he praises Francis Beaumont and John Fletcher, and their dramas are also very rich. So the Beaumont and Fletcher's drama are rich in wit and have smoothness and polish in their language, and they have highest perfection. And so he praises even Ben Jonson. He praises him as a genius. genius for correctness. That is, we cannot find any fault with the genius of Ben Jonson. And so he holds the opinion that the Elizabethans are superior because they have a variety of themes, emotions, and deviations and wit. So they are superior to all other dramatists, whether it is ancient or the moderns of the French drama. These Elizabethan dramatists are better. So this much is about the book, the essay on dramatic poesy. And let's see some of the points about Dryden as a critique. So this book, essay on dramatic poesy, is the best example for Dryden as a critique or Dryden as a prose writer, because with this work, modern English prose is said to begin. Yes. So now let's sum up some of the points that we have seen in this lecture. Essay on dramatic poesy proves Dryden is the father of English criticism. It deals with a battle which is going on between England and Netherlands. So this is the context in which Dryden wrote this work. And there are four characters: Fitus, Eugenius, Alcidius, and Neander. And they're all traveling by boat to see the battle and start. So they involve themselves in a battle or a kind of argument. And Neander speaks for the author himself, that is Dryden. Eugenius favors modern English dramatists by attacking the classical writers, and he understands that they did not follow any uh, follow all the three unities, especially unity of place was rejected. Yes, this is the end of this lecture. We'll meet in the next lesson. Thank you.